Woohoo! And we're live
Yes,
once
it is a
again
backstage.
in the new year. So it's 2023, exciting. And kind of like Annette and I got together and we said, what would be a cool way to kick off the show for the year? And it's like talking about your goals, because it's a new year, blank slate, new me, new you, whatever you want to call it. And it's so fun. And so we figured, let's talk about that today. But before we get stuck in, Annette, can you please go ahead and introduce yourself? And then we'll talk about what we're doing today.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. So I'm Annette Richmond, and I see myself really as a personal brand strategist. I work with executives and entrepreneurs on their LinkedIn profiles, teaching them how to be more visible there and do their, executive resumes if they need them. And I'm also I'm a video freak. So that's me.
Yes, I love that. I love that because you definitely got the video bug now. So you're doing all things video, and I absolutely love it. So we're talking about strategic goals for LinkedIn success. And so we're not going to get into anything complicated today, and we're not going to give everybody, here's the magic formula you got to follow. It's just personally, this is what we're doing to maybe make some subtle changes. It's never huge. But the thing is that sometimes it's good to look back and just say, over the last year, what worked, what didn't work, what can I tweak? And I think life's all about making these small little nudges, these small little tweaks to kind of move it up and step it up a little bit. So why don't we just kind of start? I'm going to start with you, Annette. I'll put you on the spot. And it's 2023. So, during this sort of Christmas winter break, have you been making some thoughts and shifts of where you're going with your business, and then how you're using LinkedIn to get you the success you're looking for?
So yes, of course I have. And my focus really is kind of to, as far as LinkedIn, like LinkedIn content, is to batch and repurpose, and then of course mix things up. And I've been batching my videos for a while because, you have to put your ego aside a little bit, but then again, I want to have a little, my hair washed and my makeup on. So I try to do them after a live show and do a series of them. But I'm also going to try to also batch creating my content. After you nudging me, I started doing the sliders, and I love them. They're so much fun. But I've decided this year I created a few templates in Canva, and that really sped up the process. And I think that that's kind of a key for someone like me who doesn't have someone, video editors or, an assistant working for me. So those are kind of my key things. What about you?
I love that. And I think that that's a really key point, Annette, is that if you're a one-man show or a one-woman show, you got to work a lot differently. Like, it's like, I love when I hear people say, oh, when I first got my VA, and it's like, that would be nice. That would be nice. I don't have a VA. It's just me. And, sometimes Devin, my husband, will help me and do stuff in the back. But for the most part, I'm running my business. I'm making my social media posts. I'm not going to outsource to some bot, so it's still going to be me. So I think the whole idea of working smarter, but
Hmm.
not harder, is key for me. And I know that if I kind of look into 2023, what I want to tackle is the time beast. It's like that to me is the hardest thing. I get on LinkedIn and I look up and it's like, oh, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. How did that happen? It happens to me all the time. It's like so easy to kind of get sucked in, and just you look up and the day is gone, and you're just like, oh, rabbit holes. I go down rabbit holes. So I have to be more focused. That's
Oh,
for me, being more
no.
focused.
Well, I am right there with you. I am very easy. I get on there and I start scrolling, and and one thing that I think I'm hoping is going to help me do that is to set aside times of the day to
Mm.
go on and spend my time there, but also to use the strategy that we were just talking about earlier, that we both learned from Kevin Turner,
Kevin.
about creating the content, the creator list, I guess it is, or the people you want. So you are better at explaining those things than me. So why don't you explain that?
Okay, so first of all, I will put the link to Kevin Turner's YouTube video, Kevin D. Turner, got to get that right. And
Yeah.
he has a fabulous YouTube video about creating a content filter of creators that you want to be aware of. And you just set it up as a bookmark. But the genius of this is that you can do multiple people at the same time. So say, for instance, you want to keep tabs on all of your current clients. You could have a bookmark called current clients, and you could put all their names into the search engine of all these people. And you might say, within the last 24 hours, I want to be able to come in every day, click that one thing, see what everybody's up to, make my comments. And that's just going to save you less clicking around. So you could do that for customers. You could do it for your favorite peeps, people you want to learn from. You could do it for your competitors. You could do it for prospective clients, companies. There's so many different ways that you could set these up. So I went ahead over the last weekend and I kind of sat down and went, okay, who would I want to know what's going on at a particular time? So one I'll just share with you right now is the ladies of LinkedIn. We do a lot of things together. They're all of my lady peeps. So I wanted to have them all on one list so that I could click and I can see all of their content within the last 24 hours. And then that way I can be more active and engaging and supportive to them. So that's one way of doing stuff. So I love that. So
yeah. And as one of those ladies, I appreciate that. So, but the thing is too, I think, that will help me because I did that too. I created a couple of bookmarks myself. And I think that will, so far it's helping me with the FOMO because I don't feel like I have to jump on LinkedIn because, oh, what's going on? And I might miss something because I'm scrolling around. And if you are posting something, or Kevin or Deanna or so many people that we know are posting something, that I might miss it if I'm not on there scrolling around today. And when I have, excuse me, that content list, I don't have to worry about that because I can just pull them up. And so that is going to be a time saver. It's already saving me time as well. So
I agree with that one. And another thing too is this year I decided I wanted to get better about analytics, and I'm math phobic. I just really don't like doing anything like that. But I think it's kind of like, when you go to the mall and you're trying to figure out, how do I get to the Apple store, right? And you look at the map of the mall, you always have to have the little pin that says you are here so you know how to get there. So to me, the analytics helps me go, where am I at today? And how do I know if I'm improving? What kind of posts are working for me and what aren't? So I tried to do it manually, and I had a really great system. I had learned it from Sarah Clay. It was a wonderful system, but I have to just admit, I was not consistent enough to keep recording everything. So I was trying to get up and make my tea and record my analytics. I just absolutely fell by the wayside. So I woke up this weekend and I went, okay, how can I make a change, recognizing who I am? And I decided I would sign up for Shield. So I decided to do that for the new year. If you know John Asperian, you can get a code from him and get a 15% discount. So that's kind of cool. And I went ahead, signed up for Shield, and I love it because it brought in some of my stuff from last year, which I was kind of amazed at. Like, it showed me my posts and all sorts of different things. But, again, that's another strategy. May not be for everybody, but I just started at the baby level, just the very basic plan. So I'm going to see how that works. So again, another way to have more success on LinkedIn is understanding your analytics of where you are, and then moving forward, how are your changes doing stuff for you?
Oh, I so agree with you. I so agree with you. Analytics are so important, and I need to get on that myself. I need to be more forward thinking about that and in keeping better track, because that has sort of fallen. I was doing it for a while too, and then it kind of fell off the wayside. So I will say another thing that I am planning to do, and I'm so excited. You mentioned I'm on I have like 3 LinkedIn lives this week. Is
Yes.
I'm going to be pitching myself to other LinkedIn live shows and podcasters because you know I love doing my shows. I get to meet people and it's so much fun. But when you're on somebody else's show, you're opening yourself up to a whole other audience too. And so, I think that is definitely one of my strategies for next year. So if you're looking for someone to be your guest, you can call me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'll highly recommend you because you have been, this is the third time you've been on my show and you're just absolutely stellar. You're a great host and you're a great guest. And one thing I can add, I was on a lot of shows last year, like a lot, like I was like
Mhm.
exhausted. I was
I
on
know.
so
I saw
many
it.
shows and I was doing them in the middle of the night and all sorts of crazy things because I'm a kind of crazy person. But one thing that I can highly recommend if you are a guest on other people's shows, whether it's a podcast or a LinkedIn Live, try and get a hold of the audio. At the very least, try and get a hold of the audio and use a program. I'm going to put a plug in for Otter AI because I absolutely love Otter AI. It's favorite. And I actually got the premium version because it can just do so much. And it's like so cheap. It's a no-brainer. But go through and transcribe whatever you're on. If you're on a podcast or a LinkedIn Live, transcribe it because that's your thought leadership pieces. It's
Mhm.
wonderful when people interview you because they're pulling out content that you might not even have thought of. So it's not even necessarily about repurposing it, but of course you should, continue to market, always market when you're on shows, but they're good for you because you might say, there's a book in that, or I could make a PDF out of that, or I could turn that into a digital product, or
Mhm.
I could be using this as an article. So always think about when you're on other people's shows, how can you repurpose that content, not just on social, but for your own stuff? And also too, it's sometimes just so wonderful to go, don't I sound smart? Just,
Yes,
on
yes.
those
That
bad days.
that's so true. And I will add something that I learned that I just started doing a couple of months ago because I still see people sharing quotes on LinkedIn, but be the change or something, which is, I love that. It's hanging across from my desk
Yep.
here. But so one thing that I had learned from Bryn Tillman several months ago is the idea of using my own quotes. So I put, and if you're doing a program like that, it's a simple way to pull out your own quotes. So it's a quote by me.
Yep.
It's not who you know, it's who knows you. And so it's my saying, and why promote somebody else's quote, as fabulous it might be, rather promote your own. And I really hear you about the repurposing. And we were talking about this a bit before we came on air, and the whole idea of video and the idea of the different video formats, the square or the landscape or the portrait. And I see LinkedIn coaches, business coaches on LinkedIn saying that you must have a different format, you must do it that way, and how they talk about how their editing team does it. Well, I don't have an editing team, so I go with the square. And I use the square video format because you can use it everywhere. I use it
Yep.
on TikTok and LinkedIn, on YouTube. And so, while it might be the best to do square for LinkedIn and portrait for TikTok and landscape for YouTube, when you're one person show, you have to do what works for you. And so, that's something that I do that might go against the grain. And it might not, it's probably not the best way, but when you're one person, got to do it for me.
Well, and like you said, if you're one person, you have to think smarter and you don't want to work harder. You want to work smarter. And so Square Video, you and I are on the same boat. We both said we like Square, we're doing Square, and everybody was like, "No, you got to do vertical." And it was just like everybody was saying, "You got to do vertical, you got to do vertical." And it was just like, "Sorry, I like Square. I'm sticking to it. It works for me. Hip to be square, we'll sing that song, right? And then I had a laugh when Richard Vanderblom came out with his whole algorithm report. He said square was the best one. So he
I know.
validated what we've been doing the whole time. So you're like, listen to us. We know what we're talking about. But I think the thing is that you can get hung up if you try to do everything perfectly. So if you say, "Oh, I'm going to try and take my video and I'm going to try and do this and try and do that," and then you don't do it and you don't put it up, you're competing with yourself. So find the way that's expedient and try to look for those hacks that allow you to, you know what? Better done than perfect. That's the way to do it.
I was just thinking that those words are going through my mind, and it's so true. And people are like, they're like, oh, I can't go on video. I mean, I was like that. I want to be thinner, and I want my hair to be different, and I want to be younger too. And that just wasn't happening for me. And so you have to get over
Yep.
that ego of perfection, because when you're doing video, people don't care what you look like. They just want to know what you have to say. But the same thing is true with you're creating a slider or something.
Yeah.
Don't work on it and work on it and work on it until it's perfect, because it's kind of impossible anyway. But
Get it out
that's
the
something
door.
that I learned, and it saved me time.
Yes, yes, yes. And then the last thing that I'm doing for 2023, and this is like putting myself out there. Eek. I'm using my company page. Here, the angels in heaven are singing. Ah! Michelle J. Raymond
Michelle
is
is.
just woken. She's woken out of her sleep in a dead sweat. Did Gillian say she's going to do something with her page? I literally set up a page last year, set it and forget it, did nothing with it, felt terrible. And this year I am committing to do it. But here's the kicker. It required a content strategy of when will I do the page? When will I do my profile? How do I integrate it? And then how do I throw YouTube in there too, so that I don't go crazy? So that was something I had to really, kind of step back from and just say, how do I juggle all of these into my calendar without a VA, with just me doing it? Because I have other things in my life I want to do that are on my goal list for this year.
Mhm.
So I had to free up some time, and yet I wanted to make that page work. So that's I'll let you know how that goes in a couple months,
Okay.
because I've got some stuff and we'll figure out how that all works. And I'll see if this works. I might need to go and ask Michelle for some
No,
help, but it's a good thing.
yeah, I mean, I am on and off with the company page, putting stuff, not putting stuff, and I need to have I need to develop a strategy for that as well. But you know what? There's one other thing that we're not talking about. We have to do our work for our clients. We
Yes.
have to fit that
Yes.
in somehow.
Yes, yes, because you don't want to say, I'm sorry, I'm so busy marketing, I have no time for
No time.
clients. You can't do that. You can't do that. And I think that, again, that's probably a lot about compartmentalizing how you do stuff. I like your idea, Annette, that you said you're going to have specific times that you go on LinkedIn, because that's how we have to do. We have to work in time management blocks of, these are
Mhm.
my client hours. This is my social time in terms of, like, marketing and promotion, sales and marketing. And then here's my downtime, because we have to be a full person with our own hobbies. And you got to have time to, like, go for the walk, go to the gym, spend time with your family and friends. So all these things, they need to fit, and our clients need to have front and center time. So again, blocking that off, but knowing that if you can work within those small pockets of time, and that's my biggest challenge this year. I have some personal projects I want to get done, and I have to learn how to work within 15-minute increments. Sometimes I might get a half an hour. How can I use that half an hour? And I'm going to be more focused with, where did I leave off? And then where can I pick up, so that I don't go, what was I doing? What was I doing?
So I have to ask you, and I go back and forth with this. Do you ever use a little Pomodoro timer with the 20 minutes and it break? Do you ever use those? I mean, they're
I haven't, but I think I will. I think I will this year. Even if I just kind of have times of like, okay, this is when my biorhythm is good and I have the most energy. So I want to work on this project at this particular time. Even doing that would be something for me. But I know for me personally, it's more about having the checklists and just knowing, okay, on this day, I do this. And then I know what I'm supposed to do. That works the best for me. And then I can kind of like, okay, I got it all done. Now I can go on and do the rest of my life. But I think the Pomodoro is a good idea. It's a good idea.
Well, you are an inspiration for me because I am very bad at working on a schedule. I create them for myself. I have a list that I work on. And I do try to limit the must-dos to a few things, but I am really, I will say, a sufferer of the shiny object syndrome. I mean, I do. And I'm hoping that if I can stay off LinkedIn and have not have that fear of, oh my goodness, what's going on and I'm missing something, that will help me. So, another thing that we were talking about too is the idea of expanding kind of our reach as far as the demographics that we're attracting. And you kind of went through that, right? In the last year or so, you really expanded or changed or shifted. And I had been, shifting my brand, myself. And I found it was so interesting because obviously I do the LinkedIn live show that I have, that you've been on many times with me. And, I found, because it started very career focused, because that's where I was. I've had that live for almost 2 years and the podcast a year before that. And I found that many of the guests that I had were people who were appealing to more people like us, consultants, service providers. And so I shifted the name and I just did that to be more inclusive. And I went from career to career and business. And I think that's I think it's more descriptive. And I know if you could talk a little bit about, because you shifted your whole business name as well, like about a year ago.
Well, yeah, because it's like I went from being in a partnership with my sister to working by myself. I took my whole my whole thing was online business, like online marketing. And then I niched down to video marketing. And then I went one step further and I went down to LinkedIn video. That's my specialty because every platform is different. And that was all a result of John Asperian reading Content DNA and figuring out, what do you really want to be known for? And I think we get scared to, niche down because we feel people are going to like, oh, we have to be general, because if we get real small and really tight with what we do, people will say, well, I need, I don't need that. I need this. But the thing is, it's less stressful. It's less stressful and you can have more credibility. So I think we're constantly pivoting. We're constantly, we change what our focus is with our business. We're always making those little adjustments, and maybe we're changing our services. I know in this year, I want to have some digital products, because not everybody can afford to work with me one-to-one. So if I have some digital products, people can take those, run with them, be focused, consult with me as they need, and not have to work with me for a big block of time. So I think we have to always be aware of what are the subtle shifts I can make with my demographics and the services I provide. So that just makes sense to me.
Oh, I agree with you. For several years when I first started my business, I was resumes and LinkedIn, but I was working with everyone from college grads to executives. And, I find it now that, my clients are executives and entrepreneurs, because I was already working kind of with consultants who are the same thing. And that helped me. But I agree with you on the digital. I have just finished working on something myself and launching that, because it is true. Everybody can't afford to work with you, can't afford to work with me. There are people that I'd like to work with that I really can't afford to work with them, but I do, take advantage of the digital products or programs that they do offer. And so, I think that is so important. They always say that, make that money while you're sleeping. And I don't know that digital products can really, I don't know how much money can be made from them, but I do think it's a great way to serve more people.
I agree. I agree. And speaking of people, here's some of our peeps in the comments today.
Hey,
So
Jeff.
we couldn't start 2023 without waving to Jeff. What a great way to start 2023. He stole my line. Look at this. Learning from two lovely LinkedIn ladies, Gillian and Annette. Namaste. Thank you, Jeff. We always appreciate you being here.
Thank
We've got
you.
Adam in today from New York City. Happy New Year, Gillian and Annette from the rainy NYC. We're so happy you're here, Adam. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Having a process, if you are just by yourself or part of a team, is a key to being efficient. And Jeff has so many of his newsletters are about how to be more efficient on LinkedIn. And, he's one for, I learned about bookmarking from Jeff years ago. And it's like, it doesn't matter that LinkedIn doesn't allow you to save your bookmarks. You can just be a savvy person and put them in your browser.
Right.
So it's just like, yes, there's no secret way. Maybe if you have Sales Navigator, but we don't need Sales Navigator. We just need to use Chrome and we can have our bookmarks. So, and Raindrop.io, that's a good one for bookmarks as well. But you're right, Jeff. Thanks for the reminder at Gillian. Happy New Year, Marcia. Marcia.
Hi, Marcia.
Sorry. Marcia. Happy New Year, Gillian and Annette and everyone on the platform today. Woohoo. Jeff says bookmarks are the lifesaver. Too bad they're more difficult on mobile. That's probably true. I never really think about that because I'm such a desktop person. So it's like I use LinkedIn on my mobile if I'm out and about and I just want to like scroll. That's like when I scroll. But when I'm intentional, I'm on the desktop.
Oh, me too. Me too.
That's called you're in the office.
Yeah, I have friends that tell me, "Oh, I do everything on my phone now." I can't. I have my 3 monitors in front of me, and I need that space.
I'm exactly the same. Laura, hi, Laura. Laura says, love this tip. Definitely will be looking into setting up bookmarks of clients, prospects, etc., to more easily monitor their LinkedIn activity. It's just a game changer.
It is.
And I love that you can set a time frame because really within the last 24 hours, that seems to do it. Now you can, if you want to, if you kind of pulled up and there's like crickets, nothing's happening, you can expand it to the last week. So that's kind of nice. But, do you really need to track what somebody did a year ago? No, it's like the most recent thing. That's what you want to engage with. So that makes sense. And a tip from John Asperian is setting up filters for yourself too. Search filters for your own. Have you been mentioned? And sometimes going through a gazillion notifications, that's kind of hard. So a quick little search. That could do it much better. Vina, she says, make video easy peasy, great way to present. It's so true. I think my prediction is video is going to get, and I said this on your show last week, Annette, and it was a great show and everybody should go back and watch that show because it was Annette and Kevin D. Turner and Deanna Russo and myself. And we had a fabulous show sort of talking about our favorite features of the year and then sort of what we're predicting. And I'm predicting video will be even bigger on LinkedIn this year. So, everybody needs to get their video hats on. Bookmarks make my time on LinkedIn more intentional, says Laura. It's so true. So bookmarking, this is, I think LinkedIn's going to listen in and just say, all right. We're just going to give you a bookmark tab and be done with it because you guys, we could be making money. It's like, okay, well, I'll sign up for premium if you give us bookmarks. That would be so good. Happy New Year, Gillian. That's from Martin, my new pal across the pond. Yay. Adam says, thanks, Gillian, reminding us about Kevin's D. Turner's content filter. It will get me focused inspiration on transferable ideas for the biotechnology and life science industries that we sorely miss. And it's so true. It's so true. It's, you can really narrow down those searches and really refine them. Sarah Clay, I love Sarah Clay. She had the best manual system for, everybody. Connect with Sarah, send her a DM and ask her about her great system where she makes a cup of tea and she does all her analytics, because it's just amazing. It was a good system. I was just not consistent enough. So I had to go buy Shield. So we all know our weaknesses. Yana says, hi, what a nice minimalist visual frame tonight. Woo-hoo-hoo. It's a little different from Gillian's usual. I have a few different lists of people in my Google Doc, which I visit each time before opening LinkedIn to remind me of whom I could write, engage, send something useful. But this bookmark thing, I will check it out. So yeah, definitely. That will save you a lot of time, especially because it's multiple people at the same time. And that's where, you're not having to click, I would click for Jeff Young. I would click for Kevin. I would click for John Asperian. Those are people that I would do. Now I can just do all of them in one little filter. It's like, oh, wow, that's great. That's great. Transcribed content could easily be used to start to finally write that book. Yeah, that's on my 2023. So that's why I got to get some time, because something's ticking away and Amazon is calling me. So got to do that. Done is better than perfect. Do square if you have to. I like that. It's hip to be square. Who was it, like Huey Lewis and the Nukes, or somebody sang that song?
Hip to be square. I know.
Square. And Laura says, Gillian, how are you differentiating your business page from your personal LinkedIn page, since both are focused on growing your business? Thoughts, Annette? That's a tricky one. So I'm going to, here's what I'm envisioning for my business page. And again, probably need to work with Michelle J. Raymond to get this all straight in my mind. But I'm envisioning that my business page is for people who don't know me. They're coming cold. They're coming looking for tips on LinkedIn video. So what would I talk about with them that's not necessarily about Gillian, the person, more about stuff that is, helpful to just learning about LinkedIn. So it will be less personal, more business. And also too, I think your business page is a really great place to share your LinkedIn lives. And I did a post about this last week, that it's like, repost your LinkedIn lives. Why not repost your LinkedIn lives to your business page? Because that's going to show your thought leadership. And to me, that's what a business page is. It's showcasing you as that thought leader. Does that make sense? What do you think, Annette?
No, I agree with you. I actually, a few months ago, I keep a running list of the month's LinkedIn lives that I'm doing on my company pages. And I have it pinned and I just updated. And I think this is probably January's the third or fourth month that I've been doing this. And, I have to get better. I was posting my LinkedIn Live, the individual shows. I have to get better about doing that. But I also have found that one of the things that can be effective, I think, I have found on my company page more than my profile, is to share links to articles that I've written. I mean, I have a ton of them on my blog, and so to share things like that is, but definitely the LinkedIn Lives.
Definitely. Well, speaking of LinkedIn Lives, this one is going to wrap it up now, because I do try to keep these to 30 minutes. I know it just goes in an instant, but I want people to be able to come and then get on with their day. So I hope there's been some value today. Excited about the new year, excited about all the different people coming on the show for January and February. They're already booked, and it's really exciting. And thank you so much, Annette, for being my kickoff guest for the year. It's just an honor to have you. Thank you for coming. And I think this is a great topic, and I hope people will get some ideas today, move forward, and we will put Kevin Turner's link in. So,
well, I must say thank you, because hanging out with you is always a treat. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.